Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. We are about to begin. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. We are about to begin. Thank you. All rise. The Honorable Judges of the Court of Common Pleas of Allegheny County, Magisterial District Judges, and Judge of the Court of Judicial Discipline of Pennsylvania. The Honorable Judges of the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania. The Honorable Justices of the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania and Judges of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. Oyez, oyez, oyez. Let this ceremonial session of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania come to order. Let all manner of persons rise and attend. Let the family and friends and associates of the Honorable Jill Beck be joyful. Let the citizens of this Commonwealth be confident and sure as the Superior Court convenes for administration to Jill Beck of the oath of office for the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. God save the Commonwealth and this honorable court, the Honorable Anne E. Lazarus, President Judge-elect of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania, presiding.
Thank you and good afternoon. I would tell you to sit, but you're going to be standing in just another moment. So what a great day and an important day for the Honorable Judge Jill Beck and her family and friends. And of course for the judiciary in Pennsylvania, which now benefits from the addition of a new and exceptional jurist. We welcome you, the second Judge Beck on our court, but you have a lot to follow. But we really welcome you to the Superior Court. At this time, if you are able to, please continue to stand for the presentation of the colors by the Pennsylvania State Police Ceremonial Unit. I need my glasses. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Gavin and Rachel Beck, the judge's children, and Lily, Maya, and Riley Spiegelmeyer, the judge's nieces. And then I will ask you to remain standing for the invocation. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stand here and they can get a nice picture of you. I'm going to do that.
Now please welcome Rabbi Daniel Feldman from Temple Sinai.
Your Honor, members of the judiciary, we come together this afternoon to give thanks, to pray for the continuation of the pursuit of justice in our land. In our tradition in the book of Deuteronomy, we are taught, tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice shall you pursue. In our Jewish tradition, we wrestle with each of those words. Why is justice repeated? And what do we mean by tirdof, pursuing? The repeating of justice can mean many things. It can emphasize just how important justice is. It can remind us that there are two sides to justice, to listen to both sides, and to find that just place between them. And tirdof at the end, to never, ever, ever stop pursuing what is right, what is just, what is good. As we welcome a new member to the bench, we pray that you will ever be rodfei tzedek, a pursuer of justice, and that you will be among the judges throughout time and throughout history who have been known for being a pursuer for all that is good and just and right in the world. Amen.
You may be seated. For almost 130 years, we have been convening ceremonial sessions for the joyous purpose of installing new members of this court. And we are here today to present the oath of office to Jill Beck, our newest Superior Court member. First, a matter of importance. Let me please join me in recognizing Rodney Lippman, Judge Beck's father, who has joined us for this wonderful occasion. And also with us are the judge's children, Gavin and Rachel, who you've already met, and her husband, Patrick, as well as her brother, Jeremy. It's a privilege for me to introduce the judges that are here from the courts of Pennsylvania. It is always an honor for us to host the justices from the Supreme Court. We respectfully thank Justice Todd, as well as Justices Donahue and Brobson, for joining us today. Now I'm going to ask you to work with me a little bit. You see, in addition to Judge Beck, we have with us today another member of the Pennsylvania Appellate Judiciary who almost was AWOL today. Please stand and join me in welcoming Justice-elect Daniel McCaffrey to the newest judge of the Supreme Court. Thank you. I ask that you hold your applause until I introduce the judges of the Superior Court, your new colleagues, Jill. Joining us today from the Superior Court are President Judge Piniella, my favorite, who's allowing me to preside today, as well as Judge Bose, Judge Olson, Judge Stabile, Judge Kunzelman, and Judge Nichols. Judge Dubose sends her regards, but she became a grandmother this week, and she decided that grandmother duties were a little bit more important today. Once again, I'm going to ask you to stand and recognize our new judge from the Commonwealth Court, Judge Matt Wolf. Congratulations, Judge Wolf. And we recognize that Judges Wojcik and McCullough are here from the Commonwealth Court. Judge Cone Jubileer sends her regards. We also have with us today judges from the Allegheny County Trial Court. Judges Beamer, Eaton, Flaherty, Hans Greco, McGinley, McGrady, McVeigh, Reagan, Henry Taylor, Judge Ward, and Judge Watson, and I apologize in advance if I have left anyone out. I would like to take a moment to thank the judges of the Allegheny Court of Common Pleas for accommodating us today and helping to celebrate the homecoming of our new judge during this wonderful event. Thank you so much. There are a lot of other elected officials, and I will be naming them at some point in time, but again, if I fail to name one of you, I apologize in advance. The members of this court know, both by reputation and by having had the opportunity over many, many years to observe Judge Beck in the practice of law. We're truly receiving an outstanding lawyer and a truly considerate and thoughtful person. Our newest judge has proved her service to the citizens of Pennsylvania for many years. Judge Beck began her career as an American Corps Fellow working with adolescents on probation. After graduating from Duquesne Law School, she chose to work for the nonprofit organization Kids Voice, and she was honored for her advocacy while practicing law there in 2008 and in 2010. She had a wonderful training for our court while working for Justice Donahue, one of our Superior Court alums, for 10 years, both while Justice Donahue was judge of our court and then when she ascended to the Supreme Court. In 2019, Judge Beck became a litigator at the prestigious firm of Blank Rome, and she says in no small part because of the firm's commitment to pro bono service. She continued her pro bono representation while at Blank Rome and still found time to be an extremely involved mom to her 2 children and partner to her husband. She also found the time to direct Sue's Run for Kids, a charity event that she founded with her father to honor her mother's life, which raises money for Pennsylvania teens in the foster care system. Having worked with her on a project in the Pennsylvania Bar Association, I can attest that she's smart, organized, punctual, and a pleasure to work with. Judge Beck, in case you don't know, we are one of the busiest intermediate appellate courts in the nation. So get ready to have those cases filed and flowing through your office. With that, I'm going to call upon Justice Donahue as our first speaker.
I won't mention the delay in that welcome to me, but that's okay. Chief Justice Todd, Justices of the Supreme Court, President Judge Piniella, President-elect Judge Lazarus, Judge and the Honorable Judges of the Superior Court. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to all of you. This is really a great day. And it's fun, isn't it, Joe? And it is truly my honor and pleasure to be part of this special session of the Superior Court as it welcomes the Honorable Jill Beck as one of its members. I know Jill won't mind what I'm going to do next, but I'm going to take a moment and pay my homage to the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. Many of you know this, maybe you don't, but the Superior Court plays a very special role in the justice system in Pennsylvania because under our Constitution, anyone who appears as a party before a trial court and then is dissatisfied with the result has a constitutional right to an appeal. And it is the Superior Court, by design, that is the forum to hear those appeals. And it is truly an error-correcting court. And this is a really good thing, because what the Superior Court ensures is that trial judges who can be powerful on a local level cannot be dictators, because there is a higher court who is going to assure that the rule of law was followed and that due process was followed. And so the Superior Court is indeed a special court within our system. Let me tell you, I have a very informed opinion of the Superior Court's performance as in its crucial role under our Constitution, because I was a trial lawyer for 27 years, and then I served on the Superior Court proudly for 8 years. And now I've been on the Supreme Court for 8 years reviewing the decisions of the Superior Court. And I could tell you with utmost confidence that the citizens of Pennsylvania are in great hands in this appellate court. Its judges act with diligence and without partisanship or favor. And although it must decide thousands of cases a year and write thousands of opinions a year, a good faith effort is made in every case that a citizen has confidence that the decision of the trial court has been given a fair review and that ultimately the best of justice has prevailed. Now, I have, as you can see, a very informed opinion on the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. I also have a very informed opinion on Judge Jill Beck. As many of you, or most of you know, Jill served as a clerk in my chambers in both the Superior Court and on the Supreme Court. And so I know her and her work very well. And I can tell you that my opinion and prediction is that Judge Beck will be a superstar. And I have no doubt about it. I'm confident in this prediction because Jill has two qualities that really make her a perfect candidate to be an exceptional judge. And I'm only going to speak to those qualities that go to her professional ability, because I know her dad and others are going to talk about her greatness as a person and a loving mother and wife. And so I'm focusing on Jill from a professional standpoint. And Jill, the two qualities that Jill has, in my opinion, that are going to set her apart is that she is smart and she is collegial. Now, let me tell you what I mean by smart, because I'm using it in the lawyer sense of the word. Jill has a very good legal mind. Jill can spot an issue from miles away. She can see faults in an argument from the same distance. And she also knows somewhat intuitively that sometimes the obvious answer just isn't the right answer. And I know this because over the years that Jill served in my chambers, I became very confident that her work and research and analysis was done with utmost professionalism and diligence, and I could rely on the work that she did. She also has a way with words. In other words, she's good at translating her thoughts into words. And this is no small deal, because at the end of the day, what Superior Court judges do the most of is write decisions. And so Jill is ready to spring into action as far as that's concerned. But let me tell you something. Being smart doesn't make you a good or an excellent judge. And that's because appeals aren't decided by one judge. On the Superior Court, in most cases, there are 3 judges on a panel that get to decide the case. And so it doesn't matter how smart you are unless you can convince one other judge of your point of view. And I said earlier that Jill is collegial, and that's the trait that's going to make Jill an exceptional Superior Court judge. She's a pleasure to work with. She plays well with others. And most importantly, she's willing to admit when she's wrong. And those three things add up to being collegial. And it's my view, based upon my experience with Jill for 10 years, she worked with an array of law clerks over the years. Most of them are in the room today. And over the course of those 10 years, she respected the work of her colleagues, and they respected her. And it's my view and informed opinion that Jill is going to bring this collegiality of hers to the court, and she will make the Superior Court better for it. And in my view, there is no higher praise to give to an appellate court than to say that it's collegial. And the Superior Court is very, very, very exceptionally proud to have her join their ranks. You know, when Jill resigned from my chambers, I was torn. I mean, literally torn in two. Number one, I was heartbroken. You know, Jill spent 10 years with me on the 2 appellate courts on which I served. I came to trust her judgment. I came to trust her research and analysis, and she became a fabric of our chambers. So that's on the one hand. But on the other hand, I couldn't think of a better lawyer to become a judge on the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. And so ultimately, I gave her my blessing, and I gave her 2 lapel pins to wear on the campaign trail. One was a seal of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. The other was a Democratic Party donkey. She wore it always and proudly, and it did her well. So, Jill, it worked. And I am so very, very happy for you. So today's is the day that marks the end of Jill's journey to this judgeship. I only have one wish for you, Jill, and that is that you have the same joy and satisfaction and lasting friendships as I gained as a judge on the Superior Court. I am confident that Judge Beck will be an exemplary Superior Court judge and that she will serve the citizens of this Commonwealth with integrity. Congratulations, Jill.
Thank you, Justice Donahue, for those wonderful words. It's my pleasure to introduce the following elected officials and dignitaries that have joined us today. Magisterial District Judge Kate Lovelace, City Controller-elect Rachel Heisler, Butler County Commissioner Kevin Buzzell, Mayor Justice Carl, Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, Congressman Chris DeLuzio, President of the Pennsylvania AFL-CIO Angela Ferrado, former County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, Allegheny County Councilor Bethany Hallam, Indiana County Commissioner Shireen Hess, Magisterial District Justice Ricky King, Magisterial District Judge Nick Martini, Allegheny County Controller Corey O'Connor, State Representative Nick Paciotano, State Representative Lindsay Powell, County Councilor Anita Pritzio, Allegheny County Treasurer Erica Rochi Brusellars, Beaver County Prothonotary Michael Rossi, Commissioner Omar Sabir, Delaware County District Attorney Jack Stahlsteimer, City Councilor Erica Strasburger, State Senator Sharif Street, State Representative Arvind Venkat, City Controller Barb Warwick, City Commissioner Braxton White, Luzerne County Councilor Jimmy Sabatino, and Chief of Staff for Duquesne University President Dan Gilman. At this time, I would also like to thank all of the Supreme Court and Superior Court staff that have made this possible. Thank you so much for being here, and also the state police that are here as well, thanking you. It's my pleasure to call upon State Senator Jay Costa, Democratic leader of the Pennsylvania Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Lazarus. Madam Chief Justice, members of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, Commonwealth Court, and Superior Court, Judge-elect Joyce and McCaffrey, thank you, and all the judges from Allegheny County, President Judge Ivasovich, thank you all for being here, for making Allegheny County's Jill Beck Day a special day. It's meaningful to all of us that you were all here. So thank you for the opportunity. And Jill, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to say a few words. As I look around this room, I see many folks who are certainly worthy of being able to provide remarks on this very special day for you. And you allow me the opportunity to do that. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. As was mentioned earlier, Jill has dedicated her career to ensuring that all Pennsylvanians have access to justice. And Jill knew early in her career that she wanted to work and be an advocate for the underserved. And as was mentioned, after graduating here from Duquesne University School of Law at the top of her class, she chose to work with Kids Voice, when she no doubt had an opportunity to go work in any of the big law firms here in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania or across the country. She chose to work in that space. And over the course of time that I've gotten to know Jill, and I will tell you, it probably started early in 2021 when we first embarked on this task, I recognized right away that she was someone who gave 100% to everything she did. Certainly to her family, her beautiful family who was here, and trying to find a way to balance not only her family, but her work and her campaign. She gave 100% to all those efforts. And I could tell you firsthand, seeing what took place in 21 and subsequent years to the point today, no one worked harder on the campaign trail. No one worked harder than Jill, except maybe for our county executive, Rich Fitzgerald, for those of us who are from Allegheny County know that. But it was her commitment to make certain that what came out of the 21 primary, that she was not going to leave it in the hands of other folks to determine her fate. And she worked hard to ensure that she would do everything she could to be successful in 23 as she was. And she never stopped from 21, despite not being in a position to move forward in a general election. Jill was working, never stopped working since that moment in time. I know that there are a number of elected officials here who could attest to that they would see her do everything, and her commitment not only to the party, Democratic Party, but to communities as well. Showing up everywhere she could, whether it be wherever it was, you would find Jill there. And that's unusual for candidates who don't win the first time around. And that was something that really stuck with me. But again, she wasn't going to leave the outcome of her situation in the hands of others. And she worked tirelessly across this Commonwealth, moving from one county to the next to ensure that she was going to meet with as many folks as possible to tell the story about not only herself, which she did well, but also raising the awareness, I believe, in my mind, of the Superior Court and the work that the Superior Court does. Quite frankly, oftentimes, no disrespect to any other court members here, it's the Supreme Court that gets the attention. But the work that's done in the Superior Court and the Commonwealth Court and all levels of our judiciary is extremely important, and oftentimes we lose sight of that.
They can have the attention.
That's right. But, you know, one of the reasons why I stood out and chose to support Jill at the outset was I saw the work that she had put into it over the period of time and the work that she had done traveling across this Commonwealth. And I will tell you that oftentimes when I would go out and speak to folks about the candidate we have from Allegheny County, Jill Beck, I would go meet with labor leaders, many of whom in the room today, my colleagues like Senator Street and so many others, Lieutenant Governor Davis, Congressman. When I would go meet with all these folks, and also those individuals who operate and work in the legal profession, who recognize the value of having highly recommended, high-character individuals serving on our court, oftentimes I would find out that Jill Beck had already beat me to those folks and already enlisted their support. And that's something I think is a tribute to, again, the commitment that she wanted to make. And the way that folks campaign, in my view, is something that I think is telling of the type of person that person would be when they serve in office. The commitment to the task, the integrity in which they move forward with, recognizing that they're focused, they have to be focused and dedicated to what they're working on. And being, as mentioned earlier, being someone who can work together with so many other organizations and individuals across the Commonwealth, she demonstrated that clearly to me. And I could tell you that I think, as I mentioned, nobody did that better than Jill Beck, and I've seen in my 20-plus years in public service. And I also think it's fitting to note that at this moment in time, our courts matter more than ever. Workers' rights are being threatened. Access to our courts and to our ballots are in jeopardy. Elections are questioned. And it's this court and these courts and the men and women who are serving here today in their judiciary who restore balance. They restore that balance back to where things need to be when they interpret, whether it be our statutes, our Constitution, or whatever the case might be. They restore that balance to protect the democracy for all of us. And I think it's really an important time in our judiciary that we have someone of Jill's character, her integrity, as I mentioned, and all the things that she stands for and all the things that she has done. Those are the reasons why I chose early on, and so many of my other colleagues did, to stand with Jill and move forward. But probably the thing that really made certain to me that I made the right decision was about a week before the election when I received a text from Jill telling me that where she was going to have her victory party. Now, if you're from Pittsburgh, especially if you're from the eastern part of Allegheny County or the city of Pittsburgh, there are two choices. There's Minios or Aiellos. She chose Minios. I was 100%. I knew that I made the right decision. Jill, congratulations. I'm honored to be here today. I wish you all the best.
Please allow me one personal indulgence. This is P.J. Pinella's last day of office. And just like the person he is, he said, Ann, you can preside over this today. But I do want to, everyone, please stand and give him a round of applause for being our P.J. Thank you, PJ. It's always a pleasure to introduce Attorney Pete Giglione, who is extremely well represented and respected by the bench in the bar in Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Lazarus. Madam Chief Justice, friends, colleagues, distinguished guests, Your Honors. When I was a young lawyer many years ago, an older lawyer at the firm where I started my career asked me, do you know how you know when you're becoming an older lawyer? I'm like, I don't know, my hair starts to get gray, I have a lot of cases, I don't know. And he goes, no, you'll know that you're an old lawyer when your friends start becoming judges. And so now I'm there because I've got 4 or 5. But those of us who have the privilege of practicing law in this Commonwealth know that our clients put all of their faith and their trust in us as lawyers to represent them to the best of our ability. It doesn't matter if the client is a large, multinational corporation, a spouse in a divorce proceeding, or a person who was hurt due to the negligence of someone else. Lawyers, in turn, put their full faith into the judiciary to make the right decisions, whether it's at the trial court level, here in Allegheny County, or at the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania or Supreme Court of US level. Laws and rules are useless if they aren't fairly and evenly applied and followed. Theodore Roosevelt once wrote, no man is above the law and no man is below it, nor do we ask any man's permission when we ask him to obey it. As British religious leader Jonathan Sacks observed, true freedom requires rule of law and justice, and a judicial system in which the rights of some are not secured by the denial of rights to others. So what makes a great judge? It goes without saying that knowledge of the law is important, and we know that Jill has that. But that's only part of the picture. When I think of the best judges before whom I've had the honor of practicing in this Commonwealth over the past 21 years, several traits come to mind. intelligence, compassion, humility, kindness, decisiveness, and integrity. Today, we're all witnessing the swearing in of a wonderful person, a mother, a wife, a talented lawyer, and a person who I have the privilege of calling a friend, and who embodies every single one of those character traits that I just referenced, Jill Beck. While I truly believe that Jill has always possessed those traits, she honed them through her work as a lawyer. For years, she represented children who were abused, neglected, or even abandoned by their parents, truly defending the defenseless. And when she would tell me stories about the work that she did there, I couldn't fathom it. I don't know how she did it, but I know it takes a very special kind of person to do that work. She protected the most vulnerable members of our society. Through her work as a law clerk with Madam Justice Donahue, Jill assisted with the disposition of thousands of cases of all shapes, sizes, and types, while gaining knowledge and experience in our appellate court system. As a litigator in private practice, Jill zealously represented her clients in courts throughout the Commonwealth. Now, many of you may not know this, but during the past election, Jill visited all 67 counties of the Commonwealth. She visited many of them countless times. She didn't just drive down the turnpike or down Interstate 80 and wave or make quick stops at places. She went to community events, picnics, farm shows, schools, community colleges, committee meetings, coffee shops. How many am I missing, Jill? There has to be more, a lot more in there, I'm sure. She learned who the people of this Commonwealth really are. She wanted to get to know the people who were impacted every day by the decisions being made. She also was really into it, actually, and I remember calling her one time. I said, hey, how's it going? Where are you today? And she's like, oh, I just left a cheesecake decorating competition in Carbon County. I'm heading now to a birthday party for the oldest living Democratic committee person in the Commonwealth, then to judge a cow mooing contest at the annual farm show in central Pennsylvania. Now, she also didn't escape without causing controversy or sustaining minor injury. Jill had to judge an art contest, a children's art contest, whereas a true test of her judicial acumen, she had to pick the best and worst drawings and tell some of the kids why their drawings kind of sucked. At one farm show, she lost an entire lock of her hair during what I'll call the baby goat snuggling incident. And we don't talk about that anymore. It's kind of under protective order. Now, those of you in this room who have never run for office, and some of you who did, are laughing. Those of you who have run for office are nodding your heads going, I was there before. But I digress. There has never been a time, at least in my life, and as Senator Costa completely properly said this, where having the best judges and justices on the bench was more important. We can plainly see the impacts that the courts have on our lives every day. And there is no one more qualified to wear that black robe, to preside over disputes and legal issues that are personal to so many citizens of our Commonwealth, to make decisions that literally affect the lives and livelihoods of so many, than Jill Beck. She's the jurist we all want, because we know that she'll bring her years of experience, her knowledge, her humility, her integrity to every single case that goes before her. Jill will not make easy decisions. She'll work tirelessly to ensure that she makes the right ones. That is what every lawyer wants in a judge. Jill, soon to be Judge Beck, congratulations to you and to your wonderful, beautiful family. You've been preparing your whole life for this job. And thank you for asking me to be a part of the team that helped you achieve your dream. Thank you all.
Okay, it's time to get to the installation of Judge Beck, and that means the reading of her commission from the governor of Pennsylvania. And that will, it was from the governor of Pennsylvania. It's going to be read by her brother, Jeremy Levin. I'm sorry, that's not in my list. Sorry. In that case, we'll call upon Jill Beck's father to speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've just had the opportunity to hear three distinguished individuals speak about Jill and her accomplishments in glowing terms. It is now my pleasure to say a few words about the Honorable Jill Beck. Having known Jill longer than anyone else here, I would like to share with you some insights into her earlier life. First, I would ask you to think back to when you first held a newborn baby. Maybe, as I did, you gazed upon them with awe when you realized the miracle of a new life. And at some point, as this child began to grow and develop, maybe, as I did, you might have begun pondering what direction they might follow as the years passed. What goals will they set for themselves? Where will their passions lie? What will they achieve in life? So standing here today, can I tell you that when I first held Jill, that I expected her to become a judge one day? Of course not. But I always knew that Jill was destined for greatness. As a young child, Jill provided some clues as to which path she might follow. During preschool, she befriended a boy who initially did not speak much English, so she did whatever she could to support him with friendship and kindness. Jill made friends easily, many of whom remain close friends to this day. Her first love as a young child was for animals. You would not believe how many different pets Jill cared for as she was growing up. As her parents, we expected that veterinary school would be in her future. So much for parental intuition. Academically, Jill excelled throughout her years at Ellis and then Shadyside Academy. She also inherited athletic skills from her mother, of course. That led to her success as a four-year starter, as the point guard on the Shadyside Senior School basketball team, and also as a member of their field hockey program. At the Jewish Community Center, Jill played and later coached basketball there too. I remember watching Jill score the winning basket as time expired in 2 consecutive games. Unfortunately, they did not make ESPN's top 10 of the week. Despite her athletic prowess, her passion was directed elsewhere. In school, sports, and at home, Jill had the ability to express her opinions in a calm and gentle way and to convince others that she was correct, a skill that still serves her well today. She has always been concerned about fairness and helping those in need. When she graduated from George Washington University, a law career was not even a consideration for her. Instead, she accepted a position in an AmeriCorps program in Montgomery County, Maryland, created to assist youth who had been involved in the criminal justice system, a group too often overlooked and neglected. She worked with them to provide guidance, direction, and grounding, and on her own, encouraged them to form a basketball team. But after a while, Jill decided that the best way to have an impact on individuals in similar situations was by becoming an attorney. Jill applied and was accepted here at Duquesne University School of Law, and in her second year made law review. Upon graduation, she was hired as an attorney at Kids Voice, a local nonprofit organization that provided legal and social services to abused and neglected children. Typically, Jill had to manage 200 clients at a time, a phenomenal feat. Next, as you've already heard, Jill worked as a clerk for Justice Donahue, first in the Superior Court and then the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Along the way, she found time to marry her high school sweetheart, Patrick, who has been incredibly supportive of Jill through all of her endeavors. And together they have raised 2 wonderful, caring, loving, and understanding children, Gavin and Rachel. Of course, this is a totally unbiased opinion. As a family, they have worked hard and sacrificed to help Jill in her quest to become a judge on the Superior Court. I believe that no one could have done more than Jill has accomplished in securing her well-deserved seat on the bench, but it would not have been possible without everyone's enthusiastic support. However, into each life, some rain must fall. In 2007, just 2 months after their wedding, Jill's mother and my wife, Sue, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She sadly passed away in January 2010. So much of Jill's wonderful character I directly attribute to Sue's influence on Jill as a mother, social worker, and human being. I only regret that Sue cannot be with us today to celebrate Jill's monumental achievement. She would have been so proud, as I am. So in closing, I want to thank all of you who have done so much in assisting Jill to reach her goal. The people of Pennsylvania are fortunate to have such a skilled, intelligent, caring woman on the Superior Court. However, I believe that I am the most fortunate of all because I can call her my daughter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lippman, for those heartfelt words. I can't imagine anyone speaking better today. Now, will Judge Beck's brother, Jeremy, please read the commission?
Greetings. Whereas it appears by the certificates and returns according to law of the election held on the 7th day of November, Anno Domini 2023, that you have been duly elected judge of the Superior Court of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Therefore, know ye that in conformity to the provisions of the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth, and such case made and provided, I do by these presents commission you to be a judge of the Superior Court of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, first priority of commission. To have and to hold the said office, together with all rights, powers, and emoluments thereunto belonging to, and by law pertaining to the term of 10 years. Sorry, it got smushed. To be computed from the first Monday of January 2024, if you shall so perform the duties required by law. Given under my hand and the great seal of the state at the city of Harrisburg this 12th day of December in the year of our Lord 2023 of the Commonwealth, the 248th. Congratulations.
This time I invite Judge Beck to stand. Her husband and children will assist in holding the Bible. Will everyone please rise? And Justice Donahue, will you please administer the oath?
Ready? I, Jill Beck,
I, Jill Beck,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this great Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this great Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office as judge of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania
and I will discharge the
duties
of my office of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And would you assist with the robing, please? Judge Beck, I invite you to join us, but would you like to say some words first?
I would thank you.
Congratulations.
Chief Justice Todd, Justices of the Supreme Court, President Judge Piniella, President Judge-elect Lazarus, judges of the Superior, Commonwealth, and Allegheny County Courts, and to all my honored guests, thank you for being here to celebrate my wedding. Sorry. I mean my installation as judge of the Pennsylvania Superior Court. As you heard today, my career has been anything but traditional, but I like to think that each step has gotten me to be standing before you today. Kid's Voice gave me an incredible amount of trial experience and started me on my path to practicing law in the Superior Court very, very early in my career. I was lucky to have some of the best coworkers you could ask for, to mentor and to work with me through an impossibly large caseload, long, complicated court days, and some of the deepest sadness you could imagine. After about 5 years at Kid's Voice, I approached our late, great Chief Justice Max Baer, who I met at a child welfare seminar. Tenacious in my late 20s, I walked over to him and asked him for a job. Actually, I told him he needed to hire me. After very gently and kindly explaining in the way Justice Baer would, that no, he could not create a position in his chambers for me simply because we both care about kids in the foster care system, he suggested I might enjoy clerking. Not only had I never really contemplated being a law clerk, I didn't actually know what a law clerk did. But I followed his advice, and I'm so glad I did, because this led me to work with the Honorable Christine Donahue for the next 10 years of my career. I once again hit the coworker jackpot, working with people who were excellent writers, talented researchers, and just really, really nice people. I also had the unparalleled opportunity to learn about the inner workings of our courts from someone that I and many others consider a preeminent jurist in the country. Justice Donahue taught me the hard work it takes to do the work of a Superior Court judge, the importance of finding your voice, and that there are circumstances when compromise is appropriate and others when you must stand your ground. When I made the decision to run for Superior Court, Justice Donahue was the first person outside of my family that I told. She could not have been more gracious and more supportive. And in fact, as she mentioned, on my last day in chambers, when she hosted a lunch for me to send me off and wish me well, she gave me a pin that I am wearing today. She told me that the seal of the Superior Court is a pin that I should wear at my swearing in. I'm honored to have you here today, Justice, and thank you so much for your kind words and your support and your mentorship. Leaving a job you love is never easy. Breaking up after 10 years was hard. But I could not have found a better landing place than Blank Rome. I knew I'd found the right place when no one was fazed in my interview when I said, yeah, I want to work for you, but I'm not going to stay that long. That place gave me the opportunity to delve into civil litigation, to expand my appellate practice, and to continue my path serving the underserved by taking myriad pro bono civil, criminal, and family law cases. Blank Rome also continued my streak of getting to work with really phenomenal people. People who were in Pittsburgh, across the country, and around the world. People who would work collaboratively with me, celebrate my strengths, comfort me after a loss, and toast my successes. I am so lucky to have been there. And that brings me to today, standing before you as a judge of a Pennsylvania Superior Court. But of course, I did not get here on my own. I have quite a few people to thank. First, to Ken Gormley and Dan Gilman for the use of this beautiful space, and for Duquesne and Parkhurst staff for making it work for us so seamlessly. To outgoing President Judge Piniella, incoming President Judge Lazarus, and to our Superior Court staff, Jen Traxler, Katie Anderson, Peter Johnson, Kristen Brown, all of the court criers, Scott Town, and the entire security team, thank you for helping me make today such a success. To the Allegheny County Bar Association and to Steamfitters Local 449 for your generous support of today's reception. To Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party, Mitch Cates, its chairman and our Senator, Sharif Street, and his right hand and my buddy, Emmett Harity, for helping this non-politician run in a highly politically charged race. To my slate mates, Dan McCaffrey, Matt Wolf, and Tamika Lane, for keeping me laughing throughout the campaign and on the trail. Dan and Matt, or should I say, Justice McCaffrey and Judge Wolf, thank you for making the trip in. It's wonderful to see you, and I'm so glad we get to celebrate our wins together. To the Pennsylvania trial lawyers and members of Pennsylvania's organized labor, thank you for having my back and for giving me the opportunity to communicate my message broadly across Pennsylvania. To Senator Jay Costa, for honoring me today with your kind words. Since the day we met, it was actually at Rich Fitzgerald's inauguration in 2020. You've been a friend, a support, and most importantly, a man of your word. Thank you for everything. To Amy and Mark Grossman in Southeastern PA, Karen and John Handrahan in Northwestern PA, Cole and Annalise Handrahan in Central PA, and Marcia and Lee Glassberg in Northeastern PA. Thank you for giving us a landing place. No matter where we traveled or what time we came and went, you opened your homes to me and to my team, sometimes on a twice-weekly basis, sometimes when you weren't even home. The most wonderful and unintended benefit of this run was getting to spend time with you. To my campaign staff, who engineered an incredible campaign, the three of you did the work of 20. And your only complaint was the rainforest level temperatures that I insisted upon keeping the car. I can't say enough good things about these people. Their work ethic, their senses of humor, their integrity, they're just awesome. Bill Oxenford, you taught me Philly slang and introduced me to all the best sandwiches around Pennsylvania. You are now a campaign finance and fundraising force and probably one of the nicest people I know. Jarrett Brown, sometimes believed to be my husband, sometimes my son, sometimes both. We know you're actually my ride or die and my data guru. I might make a recording of myself reminding you to lock the car and turn off the headlights just so you don't miss me too much. Caitlin Handrahan, sometimes believed to be my sister, twice believed to be my daughter. We both know that you're the person who deserves the most credit for this win. You're creative, you're smart, and so politically savvy. I am lucky to have you in my life, and I am so proud to call you my work friend. To Pete Giglione, a man who wears so many hats. He's a trial lawyer, a mediator, a boss. He's a dad, he's a school board president, he's a professor. He's a musician, he's a husband, he's a runner. And I added to that campaign chair. Thank you for your friendship, for your generosity, and for opening so many doors for me that I never would have been able to open on my own. To Mike Butler, my political true north, my Sherpa throughout this journey, the treasure of my campaign, and most importantly, my friend. Thank you for always steering me in the right direction and for being the guy who knows everyone and then introducing me to most of them. I could not have done this without you. To my dad, who was also the deputy treasurer on my campaign, my backup childcare, my biggest cheerleader, and also my lifelong role model. You have taught me altruism, what it means to be in a helping profession, how to persevere through tragedy, to think critically, and about the art of compromise. You also taught me the importance of having a tried and true foul shot routine and how to gracefully take an offensive foul. For this and so much more, I'm grateful and I thank you. To my in-laws, Chuck and T. Beck, who have been a second set of parents to me since I was 16. Thank you for everything you did to help us get through this last year. The extra love you heaped on my kids is something that they and I will remember forever. To my brother Jeremy and to my 12 brothers and sisters-in-law and all their kids, thank you for being here for me in person, virtually, on the phone, in every way, shape, and form, always. Jeremy, you read that commission like a pro. I am glad to be able to help you put your medical degree to good use. To my kids, Gavin and Rachel, you guys are the true stars of this campaign. And I'm not just talking about your social media and TV exposure. The past several years have been anything but normal, but you hung in there beautifully. I hope you watching me work as hard as I did to achieve this goal will help shape the paths that you take to your adulthood. Just thank you for being awesome kids. To my husband, Patrick, you've always been my biggest supporter throughout our nearly 28 years together. But let's be honest, this was next level. You took on solo parenting, a dog, a guinea pig, which was entirely my fault, a house, and a full-time job, while having the added pressure of serving as the sole breadwinner. You never batted an eye when I said I had to be somewhere, whether it was down the street or across the state. You made it possible for me to pursue my dreams, and now with this behind us, we can pursue ours together. Lastly, I thank all of you. The campaign trail was far from easy. I traveled nearly 60,000 miles. I was away from home and my family about 3 to 5 days a week. I experienced sexism, ageism, misogyny, and anti-Semitism. And yet, because of all of you here in person and virtually, this was a largely positive experience for me. Your kindness, your support, your help, your work, you gave your time, talent, and treasure without asking for anything from me in return. Some of you have known me my entire life. Some of you only met me when I announced my run for judge. And for some of you, engaging politically was really far outside of your comfort zone. But you knocked doors. You contributed money. You hosted events. You talked to voters. You worked polling locations. You picked my kids up from birthday parties. You made sure that me and my family were taken care of. I appreciate you, and I am here because of you. I stand on the shoulders of many incredible people. The most incredible, though, by far, is my mother, Sue Littman. Taken from us 14 years ago, we were as close as a mother and daughter could be. And there's not a life event, a tough decision, or even a day that goes by that I don't think of her and wish she was here. She was the one who put the idea of being a lawyer in my head. In fairness, this usually came up when I was pushing just about every limit known to man during what you might call my difficult teenage years, when she would end an argument by saying, "Oh, man, you should be a lawyer." An elementary school teacher turned children's hospital social worker. She's the one who inspired me to work with children and other vulnerable populations. I like to think that she's watching right now, enjoying a laugh at how her rule-bending and sometimes breaking daughter has become a Superior Court judge. I'd like to close my remarks with some brief introductions. My new judicial staff, who have already hit the ground running. Amit Patel, Amy Barisik, Rick Koch, Katie Shear, Samantha Doucette, and Rhonda Jones-Fitch. I'm excited to work with you. I thank you all for doing this with me and embarking on this journey with me. As many of you have heard me say before, this is a really wild way to get a job. But I got the job. And now I promise I will work hard to ensure that the law is applied fairly and equally to everyone who comes before me. Thank you for being here with me to see this dream fulfilled.
I have it on very good authority that there's a reception waiting for everyone here. So with that, Ms. Brown, would you please close the court?
This very special session of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania is now adjourned.